You ever check your bank account on a Tuesday, 3 days after payday, and it feels like you're already running on fumes? That's not just you. That's basically the global mood right now. I was talking to a friend in London last week. She works in marketing, makes a solid salary, does everything right, and she told me, Emma, I just paid my rent, my car insurance, and bought groceries. I looked at my account and I literally had less than I did when I was an intern 10 years ago. She wasn't complaining, she was just confused. How is that possible? Here's the thing. It doesn't matter if you live in Manhattan or Manila, if you work in a corporate tower or drive for a rideshare app. There's one thing uniting 8 billion people right now, and it's not our love for cat videos. It's the collapse of predictability. For the last 30 years, we had a deal with the economy. A simple deal. Work hard, get a raise, spend a little more, save a little, retire happy. That deal is broken. And today, we're going to talk about why everyone feels broke, even the people who are technically doing okay, and more importantly, what you can do about it without moving to a cabin in the woods and living off beans. Let's start with some data, because numbers don't lie, even when they hurt. Late last year, Alex Partners released their Global Consumer Outlook for 2026. They surveyed over 13,000 people across 9 countries, US, UK, China, UAE, you name it. And the headline was brutal. We are seeing a sharp global pullback in spending intentions. But here's the kicker. It's not just the lower income folks tightening their belts. High earners are pulling back too. In the US, wealthy people are cutting spending. In China, consumer optimism has completely flipped. Last year, people expected to spend 10% more. This year, they expect to spend 8% less. So what's causing this? Is it one big villain? No. It's 3 things hitting us like a combo meal you didn't order. Number 1, the end of cheap money. We spent a decade addicted to 0% interest rates. Now, debt is expensive again. Companies can't refinance easily, so they start looking at payroll. The Global Association of Risk Professionals points out that monetary policy is losing its power. The old tools aren't working like they used to. Number 2, AI anxiety. This isn't about robots taking factory jobs anymore. According to Citrini research, we're looking at an intelligent replacement spiral. AI is coming for white-collar work. I've got a friend who's a junior software developer. He told me his boss is already using AI to write basic code, and now they're questioning whether they need to hire juniors at all. The fear isn't just losing your job, it's that your salary might become irrelevant. Number 3, geopolitical fracturing. We're living in a post-globalization world. Experts from Fudan University point out that the global financial system is restructuring based on security, not profit. That means higher supply chain costs, energy volatility, and ultimately higher prices on everything you buy. Mix those 3 together, debt pressure, AI disruption, and global instability, and you get a world where nobody feels safe spending money. The study calls it a structural reset of value. In plain English, the rules of money have changed, and most of us haven't gotten the memo. So, what does this structural reset feel like in a normal person's life? Let me give you 3 pain points that are hitting everyone everywhere. And I'll use real examples because we all know someone going through this. Problem 1, experience fatigue. Remember when you used to treat yourself to a nice dinner or a weekend trip? Globally, people are cutting back on eating and drinking out by over 21%. In the UK, consumers report the highest levels of experience fatigue. They feel ripped off. My cousin in Manchester told me he went to a fancy steakhouse, paid £70 for a meal that was cold and took an hour to arrive, and he thought, why am I doing this? So he stopped. We're losing the small joys, the little rewards that made the grind feel worth it. Problem 2, the grocery store squeeze. Ironically, the only category expected to grow globally is groceries, but it's not because we're eating better, it's because food inflation is eating our budgets. I've started seeing people in the supermarket with calculators out, not even exaggerating. They're comparing price per ounce, switching brands for 20 cents, and walking away from items they actually want. Loyalty is dead. If a cereal brand raises its price by a few cents, people will switch without a second thought. We're spending more money for less quality just to stay alive. Problem 3, the job market whiplash. This one is wild. Every day in 2026, over 11,000 baby boomers turn 65. They're taking decades of knowledge out the door. At the same time, companies are using AI to freeze entry-level hiring. They're cutting junior roles, the trading wheels for the next generation, because they think a bot can do it. So what happens? We end up with a shortage of skilled middle-level managers in 5 years, and right now, we have a glut of overqualified workers fighting for gig scraps. It's like the career ladder got hollowed out from the middle. Okay, that's the bad news. Now let's talk about what you can actually do about it, because the experts agree, this isn't a dip you can just ride out. You have to adapt. Here are 4 strategies that actually work. Strategy 1. Reinvent your emergency fund. The old rule was 3 to 6 months of expenses. That's like bringing a raincoat to a hurricane. In a world where a layoff might last longer than expected and banks might freeze credit lines during a crisis, you need 12 to 24 months of liquid reserves. But don't just let it sit in a 0% checking account. That's like keeping ice cream in a hot car. Put it in a high-yield savings account or short-term treasuries. It needs to be accessible, but it needs to keep up with inflation. And if you have credit card debt, treat paying that off as your highest investment priority. It's a guaranteed return, and your future self will thank you. Strategy 2. Conduct a financial health reality checkup. You need to know your numbers better than your boss knows theirs. Audit your ecosystem. Ask yourself, are you being pushed into a higher tax bracket just because of inflation? That's called bracket creep. If so, max out your pre-tax retirement accounts to bring your taxable income down. If the stock market rallied last year, you might have too much risk in your portfolio. Rebalance. Trim the winners, pay down the debt. And check your insurance gaps. Building costs are soaring. 2/3 of people who lose their homes to disasters find out they're underinsured. You cannot afford that gap. Strategy 3. Build anti-fragile skills. If you're worried about AI, do not run from it. Run towards it. AI doesn't have to replace you. It automates the boring parts. The goal is to move from being a doer to being a director. If AI can write code, learn how to architect systems. If AI can draft contracts, learn how to negotiate the nuances. I was talking to a friend who's a graphic designer. She learned how to use AI tools to generate concepts, and now she's charging more because she can produce 10 options in the time it used to take her to do one. Stop looking at job postings. Start looking at problems in your industry. AI will devalue knowledge. It will inflate the value of judgment and creativity. Strategy 4. Embrace the new frugality mindset. The biggest shift in the data is that consumers are constantly reassessing what deserves a place in the wallet. Stop thinking of frugality as deprivation. Think of it as reclamation. Cancel subscriptions you don't use. I did a purge last month and realized I was paying for a streaming service I hadn't opened in 8 months. Meal prep. Embrace staycations. The goal isn't to be cheap, it's to stop the financial bleeding so you can redirect that money toward freedom, a debt-free life, or the ability to say no to a toxic boss. Look, the experts at Rathbones said it best. Economic forecasts are seldom right. They are frameworks, not promises. You can't control whether the Fed raises rates again. You can't control whether a war breaks out or whether some new AI tool automates your job. But you can control your own balance sheet. The difference between the people who survive the structural reset and the people who get crushed by it isn't how much money they made, it's how much intentionality they brought to the table. If you take one thing away from this, let it be this: build a cash buffer, rebalance your portfolio, and upgrade your skills. This is a challenging time, but it's not a hopeless one. History shows that those who adapt to structural shifts don't just survive, they find opportunities that others miss. Be intentional, be resilient, and take care of your future self. If you found this helpful, hit that like button and subscribe to stay updated on the global financial trends that affect you. I'll see you in the next one.